Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series Deluxe Toxin figure. This is a fan channel exclusive, so you will not see it in stores, except you probably will in local shops, GameStop, maybe Best Buy, just no Walgreens, Target, or Kmart, or whatever other random stores, major stores, or Heb. For all you guys outside of California that I have no idea, but so it's fan channel exclusive. Anyway, we'll get right to it. The entire presentation of this figure is awesome. I love the way the box looks from the white box that we typically have gotten with the Venom waves in the past. It just looks really, really good and stands out. I love the red and everything. So we get a Venom logo there, Marvel's Toxins that's down there in red. We get the Symbiote look kind of throughout the bottom of the box and stuff. Just looks really cool. Side artwork looks insane of Toxin, so we just kind of get a close-up of his head. He's kind of reaching out, so it's really cool with the green tongue and everything. But check this out. Look at the top of the box. Just looks amazing because that's just kind of like his back with all the tendrils going and everything, and you can see some of them have like mouth and teeth and stuff, so that is really cool, and we actually get that in the tendrils of the figure, so that is really awesome. The back of the package looks like so. We get a look at the product shot of the figure. It says Marvel's Toxin, the 1000th symbiote in a lineage that includes Carnage and Venom. Toxin is feared by many to be the strongest and most dangerous, so really cool. Let's get this and open it up. This thing's pretty crazy. So we get a tray with a couple of tendril attachments there. And then in the package, we get this like clamshell type design. So it's actually covered in plastic. You can open it up. You see that just like with the Deluxe Venom that was released, the back piece is so large that it comes down at the bottom. Then we got the crazy tendrils there. So let's get it all out of there and we'll put it together because there is some assembly required. Okay, so I have it out of the package. First, we're going to actually put the back piece on him. You can see there's some retooling. As you can see, the tendril pieces are going to port in the back. So that is something that is slightly different to the previous Deluxe Venom figure that we had, as well as the Monster Venom Build-A-Figure. So it just snaps into place like so. And then looking at the back, you see the two cut-ins for the tendril pieces. So we get a couple of them. So there's this one that's in there, and it looks like the other tendril pieces are actually going to port into this tendril piece, and this one we kind of have that half circle shape ish, and then the way it plugs in right there, the shape of it, so we know that one's going to go. Okay, so I poured it in. Sorry, the video kind of cut out for a quick second there. So I poured it in. You just kind of have to push it in there. You do want to be careful because some of these tendril pieces kind of are glued together, so you don't want to pop them apart. So do be very careful. So now we get this other tendril piece, and you can see here by the way it's shaped that it's going to port into this other one there. And I'm assuming it's going to go like this, so that some of the tendrils are going to go over the back or the front of the let me see. Okay, so it's probably going to port in there like this, so you're going to kind of have to put it over the shoulder a little bit, and then we're going to slide it on in. And God, some of these tendril pieces actually kind of run in together, so be very careful with that one. So it's going to port in like so, and it just goes up super high as I kind of adjust there. Look how high up it goes, but these tendril pieces are going to kind of run in together as well. So depending on the angle, so bear with me for the shakiness of the camera. So as I lift up on the tripod, you could see kind of how the design of it is going to be, where it really sticks up pretty high, where it does kind of go back, but it does go up pretty high. But we're not even done with those tendril pieces, because remember, we still have these two pieces here that are going to port into the tendrils right there and right there. And you can see they are shaped, so we know that these certain ones are going to go into those certain places. So this one is like that, I want to say, kind of a house shape. So that one's going to port in there like so, just kind of plugs in. And then we get the other one that doesn't want to come out of the tray. There we go. Where is that? We get this, it says an A on it, but this kind of looks like a circular spot, where this one really isn't a circle. That's kind of a rectangle there, so that's kind of interesting. So I guess maybe you can put it in a couple of different ways. I don't know, it's kind of shaped, so it just looks a little funny, but it just ports in there like so. So looking at the tendrils, like, that's just craziness, right? that's gonna kill all kinds of display space for you guys that might be limited in space. So that is how the full Tendril look goes. So we're gonna zoom in here and we're gonna take a look at some of these Tendril pieces, because they're all sculpted nicely with mouths and stuff. They didn't paint them, unfortunately. You know, the artwork on the box actually has like green tongues, and the inner pieces to the mouths are green with white teeth. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of that paint. So a little lazy on Hasbro's part, because it is a reused body mold that's been used 2 times already. So, you know, the budget went into these tendrils in the new head sculpt. You think they could have done a little bit more. So I'm pretty disappointed in that, because they're just all red. So we have this one here with the mouth open like so. This one back here is pretty crazy looking, right? It's super wide open. It's got the tongue sticking out and everything. A couple of different ones here. This one, the mouth is closed on this one. And then here's another one with the mouth open. And then here's one on the shoulder with its mouth open as well. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's a 6th one that's kind of hidden back here, but his mouth is closed, so nothing really special going on there. But yeah, that tendril piece is just pretty insane looking. I don't know. I may actually take mine off when I display it, because I have an entire Detolf shelf dedicated to symbiotes. And there's so damn many of them now, it's ridiculous. So there it is. Now let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so there is Toxin in all his glory, so you can kind of get that full look to him on the tendrils and how far back and crazy that goes. That is just insane. Okay, so we're going to get the comparisons out of the way. We have the Monster Venom Build-A-Figure here, the Deluxe Venom that was released earlier this year, and then here with Toxin. So they are the same body mold. We got the same hand, same legs, same upper torso. The difference is the back piece was a little bit adjusted, and I thought it was kind of a retooling, but looking at it, so the tendril piece that you see here and here for like the Monster Venom and the Venom Build-A-Figure, the Monster Venom Build-A-Figure and the Deluxe Venom, because they are the exact same tendrils, are all in the same place. So these are actually the same spots that these tendrils connect on Toxin. It's just that these ones were kind of already glued in, and therefore kind of already in there a little bit tighter and holding a little bit better. So that's the only difference. So I said they were retooled. I was actually wrong, because even looking at like the arms, the biceps, so this tendril piece is a lot crazier. It's a different tendril piece, but it glues into the same spot as the original body mold. So there's been no retooling, just different tendrils. And then the same is going to go for the left shoulder piece, whereas this one has a tiny little tendril coming out. This one has this much larger piece there. So no retooling even. It is completely the same body mold. So you would think a little bit of extra effort in painting of those tendril heads, I think really would have gone a long way. Now we get a brand new head sculpt at least, so that's cool, but there's no way that takes up the entire budget. So let's zoom in and take a close look at that head sculpt. It's actually pretty cool. Okay, so the head sculpt is like massive in comparison to like the Monster Venom and Deluxe Venom. The head is just much larger, as you can see there, but it looks really good. The only thing that is kind of weird to me is the texture of the head. So it's very like wrinkly, I guess I would say is the best way for me to describe it, as you can see there. So it's very textured, whereas the body, you know, is fairly smooth. You know, we got a lot of veins and stuff kind of going throughout, but for the most part, it's a smooth body, but the head sculpt just has all that texture and wrinkles to it. So I just thought that was a little bit odd. The tongue is sculpted nicely. It's done in this dark green color with a dark wash over it, so that is really nice. You can kind of see inside his mouth and that jaw, there's a little bit of green in there. We get this off-white for the teeth, and it looks like they're all painted pretty well. The gums are green and continue on throughout there. A little yellow for the eyes. The black around the eyes is applied quite nicely. I don't see a single issue. So that is pretty good, because there's limited paint apps throughout this figure. You know, the red is all kind of applied, and the way they did the red and the black kind of blending in together, they did this like overspray type look, to where like the red kind of has this overspray to really show the red transitioning into the black. So I really like that. Throughout the torso they did the same, so that looks pretty good. And to the arms, they even did it like in the elbow joint there, so that is pretty cool. on the back, they continue doing it. Not as much, but they definitely did it, so it's a nice touch. And then the rest of the figure is just black. But that is pretty cool, and that head sculpt looks crazy. So let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so let's look at Toxin's articulation. So head movement, it can look up that much, which is pretty good. So if he's kind of hunched down, kind of really looks like he's looking straight out. And then down is basically straight forward there. You're not really going to get any kind of motion in there. I mean, you can kind of pull it out a little bit and get some pivot and kind of move it around a little bit, but there's not going to be really a whole lot going on there. The shoulder, you want to be careful because these tendrils are really going to come, like, mash into those other tendrils, so just be aware of that. So the arm can go out that far on the shoulder. You can get a full rotation, but again, be careful with these damn tendrils because they're just knocking into each other and they're getting tangled up. So you do want to be careful because they can break easily. I've seen it happen with some folks. So there we have an upper bicep swivel. There we get a single jointed elbow. Look at that, I knocked out one of the tendrils. So we get a single jointed elbow, which gives us a solid 90-degree bend. Wrists swivel, they do hinge as well, so be careful with that. Ab crunch, you can crunch him forward that much, so that is pretty good. Going back is a little bit, not a whole lot there. We do have a waist swivel. Mine doesn't want to swivel, so kind of like my Punisher rider, you just kind of have to crack it. So we do have the waist swivel there. Legs go out that far apart, which is great. He can kick forward that high. Doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut there. You get a double jointed knee, which works out like so. No calf swivel or boot swivel. Oh, I'm sorry. There is like mid calf swivel there. And then foot hinges all the way down. You get a little bit of hinge up, ankle pivot, pec holes at the bottom of the feet. So solid articulation, but again, moving those shoulders and those arms, be careful with those tendrils because they can kind of rip apart. And then this one just kind of came loose. So let me put that back in there. And there we have them like so. Okay, some more side-by-side comparisons. So we have Toxin next up to Venom and Carnage. Remember, Carnage is the offspring of Venom. Toxin is then the offspring of Carnage. So here we have two versions of Carnage. This was back in that very first wave of Infinite series, the Green Goblin Build-A-Figure wave. We have this Toxin. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the Patrick Mulligan version of Toxin, and then this one would be the Eddie Brock Toxin, correct? You guys let me know down in the comments below. From what I've looked up, it seems to be the case, whereas Patrick Mulligan was the first version of Toxin, and then Eddie Brock was the second version of Toxin. So much better figure. This figure is really not aged well because it's Hyperion body mold. It kind of has that same overspray look with the red over the burgundy, except they used a very high gloss red as opposed to a kind of a more of a matte finish. So that's the only thing with it. And then mine is super loose at the hips. It just kind of wants to rock back and forth like that. But decent figure at the time, but man, when you look at the two Toxins together, which one would you want more? And I think it's very clear this new deluxe one is the winner. Okay, so my final thoughts on the figure. Before I get to that, I want to give a big shout out to Toy Maestro on Instagram for hooking me up with this Toxin. So be on the lookout on his Instagram for upcoming sales that he's going to have on figures, as well as a new website that he is going to be launching. So link in the video description below to directly to his Instagram account. Please check him out. He is going to have figures up for sale from time to time, such as this Toxin that he was kind enough to ship out my way so I can review for you guys, because he knew that I had ordered it from Megalopolis over a month ago and they still have not shipped out yet to me. Pretty ridiculous. So he got his in and he said, hey man, I got Toxin heading your way. So I really appreciate it, Vaughn. Thank you so much. Back to my thoughts, my final thoughts on the figure. I think it's terrific. I think it's great. The figure itself just looks fantastic. Aesthetically, he is just great. The whole entire Monster Venom Build-A-Figure, even from the time, I want to say that that year, it was my favorite Build-A-Figure. I just love the size of the figure, the look of the figure, everything about it. And this figure just kind of adds on to it by giving us a new deco, adding the crazy tendrils Tendrils. So I really like the figure. The head sculpt is just like insane and super detailed looking. I just really love it. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this figure. If you guys like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.